Welcome back. Listen to the Truth Morning Devotion on Truth FM 103.9 with the broadcast live from the studios na Ilcots na Freetong. Cecilia still there with you anyway. We've got a question more for bring come from. But we'll go to Steve quickly. I guess Stephen Gouda with you at the studio way, na the country director for the Millennium Challenge Corporation, the MCC, the US government program where they support developing countries them with different programs. And for we as alone, you know, we don't get the compact. We get plenty money for help with the electricity business. We now the plan will present to the US government for support with it. But Steve, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. You know, the last time you told me you've not tried Lafidi, eh? Was it Lafidi?
I've tried Lafidi. That one is my favorite.
Okay, Lafidi is your favorite.
Yes.
It was cassava leaf or groundnut stew.
Yeah, I'm still trying cassava leaf and groundnut stew from different parts of the country to decide which one was my favorite.
You've not tried krin or potato leaves yet?
I believe I have tried krin. Yeah, I like krin.
Okay. Well, you're not Saloma now. You're not Saloma. Yeah. Well, good morning once more and welcome. So, there is this news all over. We've reported on it. We had the Deputy Minister of Information yesterday. We had a conversation about the MCC and all of it. But let's start with where are we presently with the MCC Compact program. The last time I had you here, we spoke about advertisements to recruit, setting up the office and getting people to work. Where are we presently with the MCC and the implementation?
That's right. So recruitment continues to move forward. The board of directors is actually fully assigned and appointed now, so they are going to begin preparing for their first board meeting. And many of the procurements are moving forward. Some of those I think will start coming out over the next couple weeks, and some of the bigger ones in particular, which I think are kind of exciting. So right now it's a lot of administration work still to get the team set up, the board moving, the procurement in place. But you know, the government is a really sharp partner, and we're moving right along.
So the disbursement of funds hasn't started yet.
It has.
Okay.
But it's done on a quarterly basis, based on the projections for that quarter. And so where we're mostly in administrative preparations now, those haven't been huge amounts, but they have begun dispersing.
So what's the timeline? I know there's been some delays possibly with the review of the whole compact program with the new government and President Trump. But what's the timeline? When should we expect this whole compact program to come into force, and what the process?
Right. So once the compact is signed, that's the legal commitment between Sierra Leone and the United States to begin the program. But it doesn't begin the famous 5-year clock. That 5-year clock begins at a legal moment after signing, which is called entry into force. And entry into force often is a year and a half or 2 years after signing, because there's a lot of preparation work to make sure that you can capitalize on those 5 years, and that those 5 years can genuinely finish the programming that you have in mind. There's also, during that period between signing and entry into force, a need for the government to complete, in our case, 5 conditions precedent for entry into force. But just to give you a sense of the kind of work that takes place during this period, first we have to organize the team that's going to manage the compact, right? So that takes a little bit of time. That team then is the fiduciary agent for the compact. So they are running the compact. We are, supporting them, doing quality control, monitoring, but they're really in charge. That team then needs to go and do international public procurements for the consultants and the design engineers who are going to finish the design work for all the infrastructure. And then those experts need to come in and actually complete their work. And strategically, we want to try and time entry into force so that as much of that design work and preparation work can be done before we start the 5-year clock, because the 5-year clock, we really want to start with the construction as soon as possible. And these are very large national scale infrastructure projects. So the work has already begun. It's been underway for some time, but because of the scale of what we're working on, some of the major construction works won't be visible for another couple years.
Will management and control, I know there was the Sierra Leone Compact Development Unit, and that was supervised by the Vice President. Now I know there is a board, with certain ministers, part of it there should be private sector and civil society. The last time we spoke about it.
That's right.
Have we got the board completed now, with the other representatives?
We did, yeah. So the board, the board members who were designated in the compact, the ministers and the vice president, they went through a selection process working with the Chamber of Commerce in the case of private sector board members and with Slango in the case of civil society members. And they've narrowed it down now to the organizations, and within those organizations, actually the individuals who will represent them on the board. So those letters of appointment are going out, as we speak, if they haven't gone out already.
So with leadership and supervision, I know this has been before now when we were developing the compact and all of that, the vice president was directly involved in supervising the work of the compact development unit. Will that shift? Who is it going to be the responsibility of the board and not directly under the office of the vice president? And what would be the role of someone like you as director of the MCC in the country?
Yeah, very perceptive questions. I appreciate it. So the vice president supervised the Sierra Leone Compact Development Unit, as you pointed out. That team was working with us to develop the compact. That was maybe a $10 or $11 million process. Compact implementation is, as you know, over $480 million. And when you add in the government contribution of 14.2, it almost gets up to $500 million. So this is a bigger endeavor, requires a bigger team. So even the members of the Sierra Leone Compact Development Unit, who have been fantastic counterparts and excellent at what they've done, they will have to compete for positions in the new entity that will implement the compact. So it's an open, free, fair competition. And then the new team that's hired will be will be governed by a board of directors, which includes government ministers, private sector, civil society, and then the vice president will be the chairman of that board. So he's still very much involved, but it's a much bigger endeavor with many more stakeholders involved because of the scale.
Yes. So with going into force and the start of implementation, what year should we expect? We're very, very, very excited about the compact program and the implementation of it, especially when it will be addressing electricity issues. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Successive governments, the expectations are very high. What year should Sierra Leoneans expect for this to go into force? We see, boots on the ground, engagements, and work getting started.
Yeah, so the compact is a very important piece, I think, of the government's strategy for the electricity sector. We're not the whole strategy, but we're an important piece of it. And the main part that the compact is going to be helpful with are public infrastructure in the transmission distribution space in particular, right? So we have some programming that is going to kind of help facilitate private sector investment in generation. We have some work that's going to be done on actual connections, but where they asked the compact to really help out was the large-scale infrastructure to build out transmission lines and distribution upgrades. So, for example, probably the biggest and most challenging part of the program is to build the Southern Transmission Corridor. So this is a high-voltage transmission line that will go from the western area all the way down to the Liberian border and connect with the CLSG down there. That's a greenfield, long, high-voltage transmission project, and the preparation for that, land acquisition, resettlement preparation, road access, is a big undertaking. So to start to see that work on that line go. The other big piece is there's a lot of distribution network here in Freetown. Something like 80% of the electricity is consumed here in Freetown. And unfortunately, a lot of the distribution network here is old, right? And needs to be fixed up, needs to be renovated. So there will be a lot of activity here in Freetown, fixing old power lines, in some cases digging up lines that are underground, upgrading them, replacing transformers. So when the program enters into force and really kicks off, it's going to be very visible. It's going to be very exciting here in Freetown, but also in McKinney, Bow, a good bit of refurbishment work even in Lungi, places like Kenema, Kailahun. So in many respects, there will be sort of a touch point of visibility in almost every district of the country, although the main heavy infrastructure will be here in Freetown and then that southern transmission corridor.
What year should we expect work to commence or things to get into force?
So, yeah, I mean, given where we are now with recruitment and the board preparation and the procurements, you know, it will be a bit of a strategic discussion between MCC and the government. Because I think they're in a position to maybe complete some of the conditions precedent even next year or early 2027. And so it'll be a strategic decision to say, well, once those are complete, do we enter into force immediately, or do we wait a bit until the final design and preparation, especially for the southern transmission corridor, is complete? Because the risk there is that if we enter into force before that program is ready, that we may not be able to finish that construction during the 5-year clock. And if that's the case, at the end of that time, my team and I go back, right? And the government has to complete that program of its own resources. And that presents certain challenges that we all hope to avoid.
But is there a projection, say, with completing what the government needs to do? We expect this to be completed, because it's a project, I'm sure. We expect this to be completed within 2026, 2027. Is there a projection of when we go into force to start the 5 years?
So my team and I have an assessment of that, which I can share with you. I hesitate a bit because the new MCA Sierra Leone team is not yet in place, and when they're in place, they'll need to do their own work planning and really provide that projection for themselves. But you know, when our team kind of maps this out, we think something like mid-2027 is kind of realistic for entry into force. If we can do it faster, wonderful. But that one feels realistic, again, mostly because of the preparation time that's needed for that southern transmission corridor.
With regards to conditionalities that you mentioned earlier, we all know there were certain conditionalities, some political as well. Are there benchmarks that you're looking at, say, okay, we've concluded this, we've addressed this, and what stage are we presently with certain conditionalities, I can say political, that are connected to the MCC and getting work done here?
Yeah, so when MCC talks about eligibility and or eligibility to enter into force specifically, there's kind of two categories. One are the specific conditions that are spelled out in the compact, you know, things in the energy sector that my team and I watch. So have they operationalized an independent collection account? Have they adopted the sector roadmap? Have they completed an EDSA arrears repayment plan? Have they updated the grid code? And then lastly, is there an M&E plan finalized? Those are the 5 that our team kind of watches. At a higher level, our board of directors, the head of the U.S. mission here in Sierra Leone, our stakeholders in Congress, they're watching more of the political concerns, and I hesitate to speculate about their perspective on those at this time.
I appreciate that. That's okay. But I want to ask quickly. Very recently, we did a report about EDSA. The World Bank reports that came out clearly indicates, you know, the issues of management within EDSA. You know, the debts, you know, payments to independent power producers, EDSA not paying GST to the National Revenue Authority. Government has to be giving subventions to EDSA as well. It's causing constraints on the resources as well. You mentioned something about looking at EDSA, at the management of EDSA, and some conditionalities. Are there indicators that things are improving from your own observation or work with EDSA?
I think there's a lot of progress still to be made. And as I understand it, the government has been working very closely with the World Bank and other donor partners to try to privatize the management of EDSA, which is good because they can bring in a professional company that has run and even turned around utilities in other parts of the world. So I think that that's a really good strategy, and I'm still getting up to speed, but I'm encouraged to see some of the progress that they've made along those lines. I think it will be good for EDSA to see a change and to bring in a private company that can work with the team in place and bring some experience from elsewhere to really increase revenue collection in particular. I think that's one of the main areas where they struggle is the revenue collection. And you run a business, right? If you're not collecting revenue, you only have a certain amount of time left in business. So I think the situation now is very, very complicated for EDSA, and I'm hopeful that the relevant leaders are taking the right decisions to make a change that can benefit all Sierra Leoneans.
Is privatization of EDSA a conditionality?
Not of the compact.
Okay.
No. This is why I say, the compact is an important part of the electricity strategy for the government, but we're not the whole strategy, right?
Okay.
I mean, and so the World Bank has actually done a fantastic job supporting the government's vision for privatizing EDSA.
Okay. Continue with us quickly, Steve. There are some questions I'll definitely bring out. I get some question for you, Cecilia. This one say, the rule is everyone person, regardless of how they dress or present themselves, deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. Consent is crucial in all interactions, and harassment or violence of any kind is completely unacceptable. It's important to foster a culture of respect and understanding to ensure that everyone feels safe and valued. And they come off from Adams Bangura and the UK. Alima to say the level of ignorance with people sharing images of our children is just out of order. This other message say, it's a question. It says, an organization, what has been your intervention between Edwina and the Justice Momoja Stevens situation? Social media experiments are necessary to combat this ugly situation. 60% of the kids are on social media. Residents in rural communities, how could they get in touch, especially those who cannot afford bail when they go to court? How do you work with the Legal Aid Board to provide support for mostly women? Now some of them message and they will get, maybe go and respond to them.
Okay. Let me start by saying the question where the person asks in respect of Edwina, we organization, we don't represent Edwina at some point, and we safeguard policies where they prevent we not for say anything in public about a client or person who would not represent before, in short. So in that regard, no matter where still in a court, I cannot say much about it. The courts will decide on the outcome, the latter one, and we have to respect we safeguard policy by just keeping mute on things and respect the client's own space. And the other question, so sorry about the person who asked that question. I cannot say anything about
Edwina. That's understandable. Yeah.
And then the aspect about, I think there's a question on legal aid.
Yes, working with Legal Aid Board, especially in rural or remote communities for poor women.
Yes,
yeah.
We not only work with Legal Aid Board, we work with different partners and organizations them for make we ensure say women in the provinces and then rural areas there, the matters are being dealt with, them gets good representation when it is needed, and then get people them way go stand by them or talk to them. Sometimes we don't only need to go to court. Sometimes somebody just needs somebody to talk to or talk with. So for the fact say they want we will definitely avail ourselves and get ourselves ready. We duty counsel are always available as lawyers them for good court. We paralegals them we then go meet in the office for always talk to, or even if you want to talk to we personally, we go always available for talk to, or other organizations like Rainbow Center, Purposeful, and other one way we work with in case of situation of counseling. If we not able to do them, we will definitely send them out there so that then go talk to them.
Okay, and how? What the easiest way? Because everybody's online now. Are there ways online people can reach out to now? And waiting at the team them way possibly them for look up to where then go understand say. Because if we meet in a community, I see someone is being harassed, sometimes women and afraid. Is it advisable for people to reach out and raise alarm that something is happening wrong in maybe in their own son, at the community side and thing?
One thing we're going to forget in mind, there's so many laws that we cover women or deal with human rights, stemming from the GIWA Act, the Domestic Violence Act. Of course, the Domestic Violence Act to deal with persons, not only to the woman, but we always talk about how women then are the most disadvantaged in society. So why is the way we don't do them? I don't give you a number just now. We don't ensure so we don't get a WhatsApp number, which is very important and easy. Sometimes you go call me, maybe we'll not go pick up, but that picture or that video you go take, where you go send to that number there, it go better, and then we go definitely reach out. So it no need for make it be the person with the victim. Sometimes it can be you self with the person on street, or maybe a friend, a neighbor, we go decide, okay, let's take a video of this or take a picture of them. But in the instance when a video where totally they out of the scene for make you share, we they beg the public. The issue of we they share a lot of obscene things them. Let we go beyond pardon kind thing.
Yeah.
And also we media space really out of control in a salon. Laws they already there where they control the media space, but Sierra Leoneans we so get guys. Even if you they try for make you bring the laws them for deal with them, then go still they come back.
Okay.
But yet still we go deal with them.
Cecilia, say it very quickly. Steve need for one, but Steve, there's a question here. Somebody say, please ask him if the wages and salaries of worker will be coming directly from the project money. Someone is asking about the people you'll be hiring, whether the old fund, the grant, is people will be paid directly from the 480 or 500 $1 million.
That's right. Yeah, they will. So that budget includes the administrative costs of the Millennium Challenge account Sierra Leone, the office, the vehicles, the computers, everything that team needs to run. It also includes monitoring and evaluation experts who will work on monitoring and evaluation during the life of the compact. So yes, that will be part of the budget.
Will indigenous companies and Sierra Leoneans be given priority in terms of procurement and hiring consultants and staff as well? Will Sierra Leoneans be given some priority, businesses as well?
Well, what we try to focus on is the outcome and what delivers the best outcome. And I think in that respect, many Sierra Leonean businesses and personnel have a comparative advantage against firms that are coming to Sierra Leone brand new for the first time. And so I think for a lot of the opportunities in the compact, that advantage will be natural. What we try to avoid is weighting something that may affect the outcome in favor of a Sierra Leonean company or an American company or another company, because we're trying to focus on really what is the best outcome for this program.
It's about delivery.
Yes.
And having the capacity.
That's right.
Yes. Quickly before you leave us, we also saw the compact, scorecard, the MCC scorecard. Yep. And the analysis is, out of 22, we passed 9, and is it a failure, or, we have new, indicators on the compact that affected the green on the scorecard?
Yeah, so it is a technical change in the indicators coming from MCC. It's not reflective of a sudden drop in government performance or something like that. It's independent from the government performance. But several of the indicators were changed. New indicators were added, old indicators were removed, some of the data was changed, and so the score reflected in the current scorecard is very much a technical change, which I have confidence that this government really watches carefully, and that they can track down and figure out how to address each of those indicators, because they're in all of our interests.
Okay, the changes, how were they done? Was the government engaged to understand these are new areas and focus of this administration, and these are the areas that you will, because there are new indicators that were actually passed. if you check under the economic freedom, indicators, there are new changes, new indicators that are brought in. But because we're doing well, we passed them. Was the government engaged and informed about the changes that will be happening, so they can brace themselves up, say, okay, let's do this and this, so that we can pass the indicators? Because the picture is, a lot of reds, few greens, and we failed it.
Yeah, it's so the changes about the scorecard, the indicators, and everything, right? Those were done by MCC leadership and the board in DC, and these are the same indicators for all of MCC's partners. So we didn't make adaptations specific for Sierra Leone or specific for Zambia or something like that. It's just updates to the scorecard that are meant to reflect the priorities of our new administration while also remaining aligned with our statutory requirements. So the government of Sierra Leone was not consulted, neither were any of the other partner countries consulted in the changes to the scorecard. But once the changes were made and the new results were about to be announced, the government was informed ahead of time of what the scorecard would be saying. And we were able to share similar information. What I'm sharing here is that, hey, these are technical changes, and some of the indicators are new.
So finally, Steve, the scorecard and the projections on how we perform, do they have any link to, the compact program? Say, okay, if you continue to do well with this, you still have the program, but if the indicators are still the same and you don't progress, things will change with the compact program. Do they have any connection?
So for now, with these technical changes, we don't anticipate any slowdown in compact implementation. I wouldn't speculate about too far into the future, but at this point, we're not seeing sort of a backsliding in governance necessarily reflected in the scorecard. We're seeing the use of new indicators measuring different parts of the society. And so I think it's an opportunity for the government and civil society to embrace these new indicators and try and make progress on these, because they really focus on economic freedom and creating opportunities for private sector. And we think that space is super important for capitalizing on the infrastructure that the compact is going to be putting in.
Okay, Steve, finally, what message you want to leave with Leoneans? We above by you somehow. We are hopeful. I know you get that, right? We are hopeful that, the compact program and the support from the U.S. government will help us to address the electricity challenge. Leoneans, it's been long, we're looking forward to this. What message you want to leave with them, those people who are listening and watching us this morning?
Stay hopeful, and stay focused on, carrying out your responsibilities with integrity and with honor, and in the energy sector as well as anywhere else. Let's be paying our electricity bills. Let's be making sure that our electricity connections are safe, and let's take care of one another. This is a challenge we all face together.
Yeah.
So let's stay hopeful.
The compact is here to stay.
The compact is here, and we're moving forward. And I don't speculate about the future, but I'm very pleased that we have the green light to push forward with full implementation.
We'll speculate and be very hopeful.
Let's be hopeful.
Remember Steve someday say he was the director who helped us to address our electricity challenge, and it will be part of the history of Sierra. Maybe we'll give you another of the presidential award. Say it's the man who supported it. But thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.
It is a pleasure. Thank you, and hopefully with progress we'll be continuing to speak to you as things unfold, and when we have when we go into force. We'll come and celebrate with you in here. We'll pump champagne and celebrate you. But thank you so much.
We'd
Steve.
enjoy that. My
pleasure. You can leave us for now.
Thank you so much.
And I'll end with Madam Lawyer.